What's up, Mortgage Coach community? I've got Josh Mettle with me this morning. And Josh, you're getting pretty good at that clap. I've seen you do it twice now.
They say imitation is the best form of flattery. So I like it, man. Nothing starts off a video with a big, "What's up, Mortgage Coach community?"
Yeah. I don't know. I do it because it just fires me up. It's like, okay, it's game time.
Tony Robbins has that same thing. He gets him into a mental state, and he does kind of some clicky, consistent things before he goes out on stage. So I just consider that your Tony Robbins move.
Well, I don't want to go down a rabbit trail, but I did learn it 20 years ago at a Tony Robbins event. I've done a couple 4-day events with Tony, and that was a power move I learned literally 20 years ago. And still do it. So I got a couple power moves, and that's one of them.
That's so funny. Every time you do that, that's actually what I think of. I've just never articulated it. So that's funny. That's where it came from.
Yeah.
Let's be powerful.
Yeah, let's be powerful and let's be valuable. And what the purpose of this conversation is I've interviewed Josh a number of times. I've observed him and how he shows up for families. And I know for a fact he is one of the most effective loan officers in helping families with refis. And he is one of the most valuable loan officers in helping families with refis because of the way that he's using technology to be effective for himself and the family. And he's being valuable because of the way he's delivering advice for the family. So here's the way I want to roll, Josh, is I'm going to show some slides that I am preparing to create like a 5-minute video, and I just want to get your thoughts as we go through it and talk about them. So when I create this video, this is the first one where it's like, hey, best practices for the ultimate mortgage experience. So whether it's purchase or refi, I want to deliver, like, you want to deliver the ultimate digital mortgage experience. This is what it looks like, and it starts with these concepts that you need to give families choices. You need to deliver an uncommon level of transparency. You need to deliver whatever they want when it comes to collaboration. And it needs to empowerment. It needs to empower and inspire them. So like, just if there were 4 words that a great digital experience does, this is it. Any impressions on that?
I was just jotting down some notes. And the notes that I wrote down was experience and advice trump price. And what I mean by that is I was listening to a podcast recently, and in fact, you might have done it, and you might have actually done it with Donald Miller. That might be where I've been getting this from. But he talked about, whoever it was that was on the podcast said, from the outside, we're no longer judging mortgage professionals as, say, like Quicken versus Fairway. We're actually judging you mortgage professionals based on our experiences with Uber, based on our digital experiences with Amazon. And if we have all these kind of really high level online digital experiences, and then we get 5 PDF attachments, it's just such a disconnect. It's like what? But if you are on par with your technology and your experience to the level that an Amazon or an Uber experience is, I think that's the first thing we need to be thinking about. And then once we're using technology at that kind of a level, like a wow level, how are we using that experience to drive connection and advice? So I might have gone down a rabbit hole there, but that's what I was thinking in my mind, is we have to have that level of digital experience, and that needs to drive the conversation around advice, and it should drive the connection, the human connection, which I would argue in the 40 years that I've been alive has never been such an important topic as it is right now, because we're obviously all holed up in our homes. So connection is huge.
Yeah, no doubt. I love the color you brought to that. So here's a couple photos from what it was like to do a loan for some loan officers before the coronavirus. So this is Jay Crowell, who had just a spectacular year last year, did 170 million. And if you were one of the 70% of his families that came into his office, that's what it looked like. And this is Kelly Zitlow, who we did Amplify with, and over 50% of her families would come in. But here's the deal, guys. Nobody is doing this right now. Like, we're recording this in the middle of the coronavirus. It's the 10th of April, 2020, and these things aren't happening. These are not the way we're meeting with clients. So I wanted to talk about like this digital experience that people are having. And let's face it, when you think of digital experience in the mortgage space, whether you're in the space or you're outside the space, whether you like it or not, Rocket started this whole digital race, and it's good, like that's good. Let's face it, every big bank now has a digital mortgage experience. So delivering the link to take the app is like table stakes. It's good. It's a great way to do business. But if you want to differentiate, you need to go beyond that. And Josh, you are the best example I have at going beyond that. Like the way you deliver that digital experience. You guys are not going to be able to hear this well. There'll be another video down below. If you want to hear the video, also put a link to the video. But you deliver this 1 minute, I know you, I care about you. I'm giving you clear direction on what to do and how to do it. Again, it's a video connection on the front end. And then after you've run their credit report, you're giving a link for a TCA. And it's a link. So it's text, video, 2 links, link for an app, link for Mortgage Coach. And I think that's important. And then what are some other links that are being done today? And Josh, I'm going to open it up to you in just a minute, but I've been interviewing the best of the best, and I'm finding more and more loan officers that are getting the meeting and scheduling the meeting with a link using a Calendly. I am talking to more loan officers than ever that are using Zoom. Now, not every time. Like I talked to, who was it? I talked to one loan officer today, and he's like, hey, everybody's getting my digital link. Everybody's getting my TCA link. I'm not giving Zoom to everybody. Like sometimes it's a first-time customer. I'll use Zoom because I need to connect and get to know them. But if it's a past client and we know each other, I'm not jumping on Zoom. And let's face it, there's more BombBomb or BombBomb competitor videos than ever before. So like this is the sandbox of technology. And with that said, Josh, one, what are your impressions on that? Like, why do you put a video? How do you put a video? Or why do you put a video on all of them? But let's just talk about this for a few minutes. What are your thoughts?
Well, first, I appreciate your kind words in regards to, saying that we deliver one of the top virtual digital experiences, and Jay Crowell, absolute rock star. And what's interesting was, he had focused on in-person meetings with clients, and you could see, his buildings perched high up above Seattle and super impressive. We've never had that model. We've always been a consumer direct driven, although we do have a good channel through local realtors, but 70% of our business, 60% of our business has always been our consumer direct, and we lend in all 50 states, and all of our loan officers are housed out of Salt Lake City, Utah. So we had to figure out, how do I connect at a really high level digitally to a buyer in Connecticut who already has some kind of a disconnect because we're not local, and they can't stop by and shake our hands. They can't drop off their documents. So we had to overcome that. And now moving into the space where we are now, where everybody's kind of in that situation, we've been doing that for 10 years, so we've really put a lot of work into that. And I should give some credit to Tim Brahim, who's my current mortgage coach and such an amazing mortgage mentor. But he also has given us some really good guidance on connecting. So here's the pieces that we're using. Here's the tools in our arsenal, if you will, right now. First of all, speed to respond, in my opinion, has never been more important. That's a covenant, a core value from Fairway, the company that I work with. But also what I'm noticing is I've got several emails and several communications from clients saying, hey, I've emailed several loan officers and nobody's gotten back to me. Are you guys still in business? And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. People have too many refinances. Their operations are clogged up. and or maybe they just have too many loans, they don't care. But speed to respond right now is crucial. So we're trying to get back to people in literally seconds or minutes, not hours. So that's number one. Number two, Dave, I would say, and I know this isn't techie, listen, ask really good questions. When it comes to purchases, loan officers are great at asking questions. When it comes to refinances, like all we ask is what's your rate and what's your house worth? Ask some deeper questions. Say, tell me about the rest of your debts. What are your balances? What are your payments? How long are you going to be in the house? Are there any changes coming up? When do you plan on buying the new home? Like, get deep. And then you talked about us sending a video. So as soon as I'm done having that conversation, I'm going to pull my phone out in front of me and turn it around. If I have a stand, great. If not, I'm just going to hold it up. Sometimes it's in the car. I'll pull off to the side of the road, and I'm just going to say, Dave, man, thanks so much for the time on the phone. Based on what I heard you say, I'm going to come up with several mortgage strategies that's going to help you reduce your global outgoing expenses. You talk to me about the student loans, you talk to me about the RV, you talk to me about the trailer. I want to see what a scenario looks like if we just refinance your home. But I want to give you some advice on your global debt structure, because bottom line, Dave, I want to help you get that new mortgage paid off as quickly as humanly possible. Or what other piece of juice you gave me, like, my kids are going to be out of the house in 10 years and they'd be really bitching if my house was paid off by then. I'm going to reference that strategy. And what I want to tell them in that conversation is, Dave, I heard you and I look forward to serving you. Those are the two things I want to communicate in 60 seconds or less by holding out my phone. And it's just, I'm not using any technology, guys. I'm just using an iPhone. I'm hitting a text to Dave. I'm hitting the camera. I'm hitting video, and I'm timing a 60-second video, and I'm hitting send. And then I'm sending in my contact card, and I say, please keep my digital contact card. If you ever need me, just search mortgage in your phone, and I'll come up. And then from there, I'm moving them to an online mobile app. Boom, they do the online mobile app. We create the TCA. If the text communication is strong, it's odd. Sometimes people will send pictures back or they'll send videos back. So if I feel like that's the right channel for communication, then we're texting that TCA out. We're texting a Calendly link out, because again, people are judging us against Uber. How easy and convenient is Uber? How inconvenient is it to try and match schedules with a busy mortgage person? It's terribly inconvenient. So use things like Calendly, where we say, hey, Dave, I want to schedule a time for us to review the total cost analysis and the different mortgage strategies. Here's a link to my Calendly account. Boom. And what I'm trying to drive really is that digital experience, so that we can drive advice, we can drive connection. And at the end of the day, the way they feel is, I heard you and I look forward to serving you. That's the goal.
Well, I loved a bunch of things that you said, but I hope everybody's connected dots. Multiple times he's talked about, we're being compared to Uber. We're being compared to Zillow. We're being compared to Netflix. We're being compared to amazing technology experiences. And so, mortgage industry, it's more important than ever that get clear on your tools. What is your digital mortgage tools? And notice everything, it all has a link. Zoom has a link. Calendly has a link. Mortgage Coach has a link. Your app has a link. It's like the link economy. Now, when they click on that link, are they getting something awesome? Like our dev team at Mortgage Coach, we look at the technology we create, and it needs to be as good or better than Uber, than Netflix, than Facebook, than Zillow. It's not, we're not competing with other mortgage experiences. We're competing with other consumer experiences. So guys, let's change the chapter. We just covered what is all the technology that you need to do in order to deliver this amazing experience. Let's talk about the soft skills, and let's talk about the leadership skills that you need to cover. And we're going to do this quick, guys, because down below, there's a link to a 35-minute video where we edited together Josh's experience. So I recommend you still listen to that. But to me, the most important things, and I want to hear, one, if you agree with me, Josh, and two, what do you think are the most important things? It's first and foremost, that family needs to come to you. And when they get done talking to you, you've elevated them. They've learned something that they didn't already know. And number two, you need to teach them something they will always remember. Like literally the first time I learned that, hey, if you prepaid a mortgage and I saw an example and I saw the exact amount of interest that was saved, it's like, you're never going to forget that. It's a star moment. Now there's a lot of things that go into creating a star moment, but that's essential. And then you need to go through these 4 essentials to making a smart mortgage decision. So Josh, I'm going to go through them one by one. I want to get your impressions on each one of them. I think number 1 will never be the same after coronavirus. So like, we've always asked people like, hey, how much money do you have in the bank? And we do it from I'm qualifying you for a mortgage. Do you have enough cash reserves? And there are some loan officers that will say, I'm a mortgage advisor. And they'll kind of gloss over the fact that, hey, do you have enough money for emergencies and opportunities? But I don't think that conversation will ever be the same, because Corona has created an emergency like none we've ever seen before. And so Josh, that's like one of the 4 essentials. What are your thoughts on that? Do you feel like that's going to be a different conversation going forward?
Yeah, I think that every email that goes out, if you're sending a TCA, should have a screenshot of something like this. And just, this is food for thought for our next conversation. I want to talk over the strategies, but I also want to talk about these 4 essentials. Jeremy Forcier had created something that I think he got from the core that was kind of similar to this. This is the first time I've seen this image, but I really like that. And again, it just gives you a construct for a conversation that is very different from what is your rate. I was doing a Zoom meeting yesterday for Ignite, which is the coaching arm of Fairway, and they do such an amazing job in educating. And the whole conversation was around, if we can't lock refinances, which right now we're not able to lock refinances, a lot of companies can't, until the loan is underwriting approved. And loan officers are struggling getting clients to be okay with paying for an appraisal before their rate's locked. And my whole thinking through that whole meeting was, you're having the wrong conversation. You never shifted off of price to get to advice. You never started asking them questions on what their global debt structure looked like. Tell me about your other liabilities. How long do you plan to be in the home? What's it going to look like when your kids move out? You never got that deep and got people off of rate. So that the image you just gave is another construct to get people off of that mental path of rate into what strategy, what advice, is there a better way to think through this other than just rate? Going back to your previous slide, the smarts, Dave, and then the slide even before that, we go to that, teach something that hasn't been considered. So when you put that slide up, the first thing that I thought of was the Challenger Salesman. And that Challenger Salesman is all about, it's a great book, by the way. I think it's one of Dave's favorites. It's definitely one of mine. And what that Challenger Salesman, what that book taught us was that the best salespeople in the world across all industries have an ability to challenge the assumptions of their clients and get them to think outside of the box in a larger context. Now, let me give you an example. Yesterday, I had a client who said to me, I want the lowest possible rate. Well, this conversation was actually several days ago, but I sent him the TCA yesterday. I want the lowest possible rate on a 30-year fixed. And that's the only conversation that I want to have. And I said, got it. That's exactly what I'm going to give you. But would you mind if I ask you a couple more questions? No, because I'd acknowledged that that's what he wants and that's what I'm going to give him. He let me ask more questions. And I said, okay, just humor me. Tell me what other liabilities you have. Oh, well, I have a home equity line. Still with me, Dave? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. And,
okay, gotcha.
And I do want to highlight the fact really quick that when I pull back up the 4 essentials, that's number 3. I mean, these are the, and I created this, with your help, Josh. So, I mean, you and the whole mortgage coach community helped create these 4 essentials. You talk about number 1, now you're talking about number 3. So I just want to put this in a context that everybody's hearing it. And the other thing that you guys are doing is you're making every other loan officer they talk to look like the villain. They're,
Totally.
Every other loan officer is not giving the transparency of total cost over time. Not every other loan officer, whether it's a purchase or a refi, is talking about consumer debt. And if they are, they're not putting it in writing. They're not showing it in a way that's comprehensible. So anyways, keep going. I just wanted to make sure we connected what you're doing to these 4 essentials. These 4 essentials should be the opening of your conversation. The TCA is the way you deliver on it. And then it should really be the closing, because you want them to go out in the market, like if they are going to shop, which people still shop, and you want to be like, you want them to be like, is this lender giving me the 4 essentials to smart mortgage decisions, or whatever you want to call it? Like, and these are the mortgage coach 4 essentials. You may have 5 essentials. You may have 3 essentials. But I can tell you right now, if 2 of them are not total cost over time and going through all their debts and showing them strategies to pay off their debt faster, you're going to get beat by Josh. But anyways, keep going, brother. I just want to connect the dots on that.
No, I think you're spot on. And so, you know, as I got him to open up, and I said, I'm going to give you what you want, which is the lowest possible cost 30-year loan out there on the market. Actually, he said lowest possible rate. So that's the words that I used. I said, but I've been doing this for 20 years, and I pride myself in giving good advice and taking care of families. So would you just humor me and let me ask you a few more questions? He said, sure. So we went through, we got the kind of global analysis of all of his debts. And in the context of asking that question, I found out that he had taken out a home equity line after we'd done his mortgage, which was very important for me to start quoting. And so I built the TCA and I showed him 4 different options. I said, look, here's a 2.875 30-year fixed mortgage. Of course, that was loaded with points, but that's what he wanted to see. What's the lowest overall 30-year rate? Then I showed him, now let's say we did that strategy and you reinvested the monthly savings to repay down the new mortgage. Boom. If he kept his same payment, went down to 2.875 and continued making the same payment, he paid his loan off. He had like 28 years left in his loan. He paid his loan off in like 17 years or something. And then I said, now you also told me that you had 3 other liabilities. And if we paid off those liabilities, that would bring you another $855 a month in cash flow. And if we refocus that money towards paying down the new mortgage, boom, you paid your loan off in 13 years. So it came down to me being comfortable challenging him. He was so dead set on what he wanted. I had to say, okay, I hear you. I'm going to give you that. And then I had to challenge him, gather more information. And at the end of the day, there you go. I mean, that's not BTCA, but it's essentially the same thing. At the end of the day, he said, clearly the higher interest rate, debt consolidation, is the lower cost option than the lower interest rate, not debt consolidation. But I had to challenge his assumption and drive for the data and then prove it and flush it out in my total cost analysis to make him aware that he was wrong. He didn't know the best strategy. I had to show it to him.
Yeah, but guys, I hope the takeaway was he didn't just like tell him, I'm going to teach you something you didn't know, and he didn't force it. He said, the guy said, I want this. He repeated it back in his words. I'm going to give you that. And then he followed a framework, a structured conversation where he went through these 4 essentials. He didn't even probably call it the 4 essentials then. He just, in a conversational way, went through the 4 essentials. And then he gave him something, not in writing, not a PDF, a link, a dynamic link that can have a video inserted into it, that can be updated, that is as good as any mobile experience a family has ever seen. It's on par with Facebook, with Zillow, with Uber. I mean, a Uber quality level app experience. He's delivering that. And that, you know, that's what people want, you know? And at the end of the day, this is another thing you haven't seen, Josh, because at Mortgage Coach, we're really trying to up our game to arm you guys with not only the best advice platform for you to deliver advice, but content that are bookends to the TCA. That's why I created that slide that's like, here's the 4 essentials. That's why my team created this, like how to read a TCA, making it like, when we made this, we didn't make this for loan officers. We made this for families. So you guys can take this, you could make a GIF, you know, or some type of like 10-second video, or you could take a screenshot of this. So at the end of the day, guys, like we are in this amazing opportunity. I mean, yes, it's dark. Yes, it's horrible, but it's also an opportunity for every mortgage professional to elevate their game. and deliver the ultimate mortgage experience. So Josh, we did go over our 10 minutes here, but I think we gave a lot of good advice. We gave tactical advice from technology. We gave strategic selling advice. Any closing thoughts as we wrap this up, brother?
Yeah, I just want to close on mindset because, you know, you referenced this, this thing we're going through with COVID-19 as dark and horrible. And certainly if you've got a family member or a friend or someone you care for that is currently, you know, battling this, it is certainly dark and horrible. But what I would point out is where we put our attention is where we put our energy. And if that is the framework that we're looking at this event over and over and over, then that is going to be the vibrational frequency of our energy. And so as much as we must recognize that it's a threat, we also, on the other side of the pendulum, need to think about some of the greatest opportunities come out of these types of moments. There are people who are going to learn something new, reframe their business, come out of this with a better way to move forward than ever before. And a prime example of that, Dave, is, you know, I was on the verge of bankruptcy. I mean, I'm talking about a deal or two away from bankruptcy and losing 64 rental properties in the last crash. It was beyond frightening to me because I didn't have a very great economic childhood, and I thought I was about to bring a child into that same place. And out of that place of dark and horribleness, I found serving physicians and I found serving medical professionals. And it has been the greatest blessing and gift over the last 10 years of my life. And if I wouldn't have had that reset, if I wouldn't have started waking up at 1:30 in the morning and started reading and taking courses about internet consumer direct marketing, I would never have been able to build a group that, you know, this month, the heavens willing, we're going to do 65 million in production this month as a team. Like one team is going to do 65 million in production. So yes, you have to identify and realize there is some dark and horrible, but as dark and horrible, there's also equally as much opportunity. And we have to be focused on both as we go through this time, or you won't have an opportunity to rebirth and rebrand and build yourself up better. And everybody should be thinking about driving out of this frickin' tunnel at 100 miles an hour towards the sunshine at a better version than we came into it.
I love it, man. So my closing thought, I totally align on be the light. There is darkness in the lands, and I'm not going to describe that anymore, but there is beautiful light in the land, and there is beautiful opportunity. And so ask yourself, one, from a framework process, are you going through the 4 essentials? Do you even have 4 essentials that you're going through with family? And then 2, what links are you using? Are you using scheduling links, you know, like a calendar link? Are you using an advice link like Mortgage Coach? Are you delivering video content so that you're connecting at a time when connection is more rare than ever? So if you got some value from this, give us a like, share it with your mortgage friends. For all you branch managers, I recommend you schedule a branch meeting and you listen to this and you come up with like, hey, at our branch, this is the CRM that we use. This is the advice that we use. This is the calendar, you know, whatever the scheduling, you know, what's your tech stack? And then what are the 4 essentials to making smart mortgage decisions that you guys believe in? Get clear on that. Because guys, if you're not clear on it, your team's not clear on it. So that's my hope, is that everybody is going to get more clear on your advice platform, more clear on your tech stack, and you are going to deliver the most effective experience to families that also happens to be the most valuable experience for families. This call's a wrap. Josh, dude, thank you so much for making time, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Love you. Stay safe out there.
Love you. Appreciate you.